One, live.
Hey guys, my name is Ricardo Liborio, and we have here the GOAT, Marcelo Garcia, my good friend, my dearest friend, my, what we call say, compadre. Really, this is one of the most dearest person that I ever met in my life. This is, I gotta say, I know that you're really embarrassed when I say this, but this is the the pick, the top of the top of the pyramid, and in being a martial artist and a great person, and this complex figure configuration of being so successful on the mats, but at the same time being the kindest human being is exactly what we needed. In my opinion, that's one of the main reasons that I admire Marcelo so much. There's so much into Marcelo's personality, and he daily bases his actions towards the family, towards the students. Marcelo, welcome to the Black Belt, the Fight Back campaign, in collaboration to the Red Cross. And this campaign is to give the support to the frontline people that is there suffering and battling coronavirus, and the first responders. So, for those that are listening to it right now, this is the own and only Marcelo Garcia, ladies and gentlemen.
Liborio. You know you're a family, Liborio.
Hell no. I'm telling you this, Marcelino, I'm just improving my skills to be I can work in a circus, or something like this. Right now, I'm just introducing people like that. And everything I said is true. You see that this is a hand, when Black Belt magazine actually asked me to find a handful of people that really represent our community so well, the first thing that came to mind, it just can't be only about the accomplishments. It can't be only about the medals and the trophies and the titles and things that have done it. It has to have the commitment and helping the community, but has to have the commitment of building a better society. And it has to be with personality, it has to be through the example, it has to be through the martial artist that's in you. And I don't know anybody better than you to to be honest at that, to post that. You inspired us so much, that's true. It is true,
Liborio, I always get so shy when you talk about like this because I'm still look up for you so much, and to see you talk like that, it's just like just blush me.
But that's true, Marcelinho. I was talking to Cyborg today. We had this great conversation with everybody else, right? But Cyborg has one thing to say, and made a lot of sense when he says that, man, I have to be open to learn, to become the better professor, master, instructor, whatever it is there. You have to be the great student. And I told him about the importance of mentorship. Because for me, for my son, I still really look up to mentors and people that can be mentored in different ways. It's not in the different of the age. It's not in the different of the accomplishments. Sometimes you are mature in certain individuals has certain maturity for life experience, or for dedication to certain aspect of life, then you learn it like anybody else. And it's not about age. It really is not. It's about life. From your own dedication, man, I want to pursue to be more calm about this, or a pursuit to understand other people who have different thoughts, or whatever it is in the philosophy that you're pursuing it. But if you put time into it, or if you experience this into your daily basis life, you can acquire this knowledge. So the mentorship can't be just about age. Oh, I'm older than you. I cannot be, mentored by somebody. I don't believe that. So when I say it and I give it the example of this, you have so much, you lived so much, but you have so much to share. It's so important for people to hear, not just to your story, man. It's how you dealt your story. We know that to know the end of the story is one thing. You know, if I tell the story and I tell you the end of the story, but really what it makes sense and people start to mirror that and inspire people is how you actually went to the step by step
Mhm.
to get there. You know, for competition itself, you know, how you acquire, and I know this, so I'm going to give you a good example. I'm going to ask you a question. And I love when you said that, you know, you didn't win your first competition in jiu-jitsu right away. It took you time to be Marcelo Garcia, right? And that really is resilience. Let you let me hear from you.
Libor, I think when you say the story, it's just so important because we can learn so much from other people's stories, and we cannot just look for where someone get and then we just wish to get there, but it's just so important us to be able to hear people's story, to study, you know, people's story, and we have to learn from each other and not learn from each other just success. We got to learn from each other's mistakes, and we cannot just hope to make the same mistakes to learn. We just hope we can learn without have to make all the same mistakes that we make, you know.
That's no doubt about that. But people are in this moment right now, Marcelo. And for those that don't know, Marcelo is based in New York City, and I, you know, I kind of rushed him in to get out of New York City to come down to Florida so that he can actually have a peace of mind with what's happening. I think we're fortunate enough to have you down here before the thing exploded over there because I don't even think you could get out of there right now, and it would be much suffering for you and the family, right? But tell us a little bit about how New York right now, how's the school right now? Let people know because people just think there's just only success that you're, but there is still struggle even now, right?
You talk about now the situation with the coronavirus, right? But
Yes.
uh, the difficult of New York is that everybody's in the apartment. Just how I was in the apartment, I was already like 5 weeks. I was 5 weeks inside the apartment. Once they decide to like, oh, that's enough. I can't stay inside the apartment this long. I was not even going to the elevator because I don't want to risk to bring something for my kids. So it's just tough because people just feel like they want to go outside, but because we're so used to New York City and we're so used to just be on top of each other, not have like a backyard or space to just relax. It's hard, and people is having hard time with that because they have been there for like 2 months probably, and they start to feel like they want to go enjoy the summer, but we can't. It's just too risky. But a lot of
Oh,
people is kind of breaking to the quarantine. But at the same time, we have like a one or two instructor, few people that work in the gym that got infected and they already got better. So these people feel like they feel safe, they feel like immune, but obviously we still don't know how 100% they are immune. But I'm sure there's a lot of people that is start going back to work, try to just be more active instead of being the partner. These people probably already kind of like immune from the virus. You know? That's what at least like most of the people feel right now.
yeah. Marcelino, do you think that this is going to affect directly uh, what I'm saying? You know, the lifestyle of New Yorkers, and that was a curiosity from me, you know, and how do you do this, you know, from now on, from here?
But I think there's a chance for sure, and there's a chance because like people get traumatized. You know? We get traumatized from a fatality that occur in our lives. We got traumatized to see people going through struggling. So a lot of people is gonna be kind of a little scared about this, but at the same time, the same way how we get
Yeah.
traumatized, we can walk out of that. We can rask ourselves out of the situation and slowly start to feel more comfortable. I think it's gonna take some time, but I feel like people's gonna go back to normal. But until go back to normal, we're gonna have to adapt a lot. And obviously, like maybe the normal is gonna be like a new normal, like people say. So we have to get prepared for that. But at the same time, Liborio, I feel like we can get out there because we all together on
Yeah.
this, especially in New York City. People is like people is getting sick together. There's so many people like around that we know that got sick. So many like not people that we know close, but people that we know that die from this virus. So I feel like because we all together into this, I feel we can also like get out of this together.
Marcelino, do you feel like because you have martial arts in you, because you have jiu-jitsu in you, you have an understanding of jiu-jitsu like very few, and philosophy and lifestyle and mindset, do you think this is make easier for you, and how people that are listening to right now can actually um, acquire this, this values and this philosophies and mindset?
But I think we kind of used to go through a struggling, and the struggle can be on the mat, can be outside the mat. Sometimes we go through struggling to have to go train. Sometimes sometimes people leave in the gym just to do jiu-jitsu. So people sometimes go through really struggling, and I feel like it's not just like a one struggle that can make you kind of give up, or make you kind of like don't trust, don't believe that you can get out of this situation. So I feel like people that used to jiu-jitsu, they 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 have the fight, they have their heart, and they can fight this like maybe a little bit better, or maybe just different than some people that doesn't have jiu-jitsu. And reality, Liborio, we learn how to be patient in jiu-jitsu. We learn how to look things into a different ways, not just one way, not just the bad way, not just the worst scenario. The same way how that's the worst scenario, obviously that's like the best scenario. So we have to look for a way out of this.
Yeah. Marcelino, let's start from the beginning. Let's go back again. I was just very curious about your mindset over all this, what's happening right now. And of course, we're doing this to try to help the first responders and the people that are in the front line. This collaboration, the Red Cross, is extremely important to raise money to through donations and people that are listening to right now. And so you're listening to right now, please. Like Umprito was saying, with the money or time or blood itself, but just be part what a Red Cross is trying to do it, because it goes straight for who really actually is in need right now. We truly appreciate you being here, Marcelino. Don't even need to tell you that, but let's go back. I think a lot of people, because this community right now for the Black Belt Magazine, sometimes some of those people actually never heard of who Marcelo Garcia is. Marcelo Garcia is considered, the greatest of all times. Really, the guy who was extremely successful on AGCC no gi, which is the Olympics of the grappling, and also in the jiu-jitsu with the gi. But beyond anything else, like we used to say, that's the guy who carved the path for so many of the fighters that came after that. Marcelino, a little bit of the background. It's got to be short because I really want to introduce them to the fights and at least to some of your highlights movement. And we're going to try to discuss and break down, because a lot of your positions were your positions. It's funny because a lot of your positions were the first time I saw it is when you actually executed on competitions. So talk a little bit about the time in, yeah, there you go. They posted already. I was gonna ask him to tell him a little bit about your past and how you started. How you started in jiu-jitsu.
Libor, I hope like some people can inspire a little bit on this that I was gonna say, because it's like the denied. It's like the not supposed to. I think I leave a lot of like of the denied, and the when people tell you that you're not supposed to. And I feel like if you believe, if you enjoy, if you put your heart, you can get. A lot of people know that I'm from Brazil, Liborio, but I don't feel like jiu-jitsu is from Brazil for me, like I feel like from where I come from, I feel jiu-jitsu is more from Rio de Janeiro. Everything I used to hear is from jiu-jitsu from Rio de Janeiro. So people need to understand
and
that
actually,
like
it didn't come from Rio de Janeiro, right?
I know
It come from
but
Pará. right?
exactly. But on my just like when I was a teenage, when I was like 12 years old, all I used to hear is like from you guys that come from Rio that like has all the successful. You all have such a like a strong history and war titles in jiu-jitsu. So back then, that's how I used to know that. That's how I used to, and it was very little about it. So everything was kind of against me, and I used to be almost like upset because why I don't have jiu-jitsu, why jiu-jitsu is not so easy for me, why I don't have jiu-jitsu around the corner, why I don't see all the people going train jiu-jitsu at the same time that I go. Because in Rio there was a time that people was just walking with gis under the arms, just like it was almost like a book. You see people going to school, you see people going to jiu-jitsu. That's what we used to hear, and I didn't have that. But at the same time, obviously, I'm not blamed. I'm not complaining because I know maybe if jiu-jitsu was very easy to me, maybe I don't have to get what I am. But the point I want to get, Libor, even if it's something that's not supposed to you, it's supposed to be easy for you. Even when people say like, "Oh, you don't mean to to be good. You not mean to like to have a good jiu-jitsu. You still can do, and that's my whole point.
Yeah.
So even if you have just passion, even if something that like oh I don't come from like a family sing, for example. My family is not they never studied music or something like that. But if you feel like you want to learn music, you can just put your heart and just do everything you want to. And I feel that's kind of how it was. My parents, they always support me to go train, but at the same time they want to never even see what I was doing in jiu-jitsu. They never want to like watch any one of my matches. They just like, okay, we want to support you to do your sports, your martial arts, but at the same time they never care. They never really like into was something that I was the only one that had. So I hope like people hear that they should know that like even if you don't come from a place that's supposed to have something, you still can do it. Like my first coach, um, Liborio, he was from judo, and then he was porro bell in jiu-jitsu, and then he started to go and train jiu-jitsu with me after to my first jiu-jitsu coach. And my first judo coach, he told me like, Marcel, look at me, I'm born on this mat. I was like a little baby when I was born in this mat, and look what I am now. And he was working under the car as a battery car changer, and then he was like, look at me, look what I am now. Do you think you're gonna get somewhere? And then I look at him as like, I don't mind if I don't get anywhere, but I feel like as long like if I can do this for a living, if I can just have this on my life, I'll be happy. But it was so many like points, Libor, like this that people kind of told me like, oh, you're not mean to be good in jiu-jitsu. You're not mean to be doing jiu-jitsu right now. You're not supposed to kind of being going train right now. You're supposed to just being go to school and then find a job like on the supermarket close to your house and go out in the weekend, get a little drunk, and that's it. That's what people told me that I was supposed to do, and I never believed on that.
She said it's funny, Marcelinho. You saying that with me it was exactly the opposite. And at one point there, I went to school. I went to university. I had this great job of a Bank of Brazil. It's to work for the government there. It was the bank of the government. And I dropped everything to work with jiu-jitsu. But I remember the whole family. Are you crazy? You're gonna be doing this to work with martial arts? Are you dropping your job as a manager in the Bank of Brazil, a stable job, making real money to really work with jiu-jitsu or martial arts? Are you crazy? But I would never be good at that. I would never be happy or fully happy, Marcelo. I would never be. People ask me too, Marcelo, in terms of how did you do this having actually a regular job? How was able for you to conciliate this thing about training and going a full-time job? I was waking up 5 o'clock in the morning and I was there 7 o'clock. But there was one thing. I was eating in the bathroom, Marcelo, so I can go there on a motorcycle from downtown to Copacabana. But at the same time, I love it. If I had not do this, I would never be happy. It makes sense. It was not a burden for me. It was not a problem waking up 5 o'clock because it will be a tremendous trouble if I really actually don't have that in my life because I was doing something that I really did not like it. You know, working in a bank, it was very not just stressful. It was not for me. So I dropped everything in a decision, which is one of the hardest decisions in the world for me. And I was really anxious. And I remember I had a talk with a friend of mine. He said that in the time to get out of the bank would actually, my father was I retired as a superintendent. And this guy said, "Man, why you think you're not going to be successful in things that you choose it outside of the Bank of Brazil, knowing that you're successful with your friends, you're successful in your relationships, you're successful with your family, you're successful with your sport, you're successful even in a bank that you don't like it, you're still successful and you got a manager's job. Why you think you're not going to be successful outside?" And that for me, it was kind of epiphany, but it was everything that I love it. What I love it, my cure was jujitsu. Jiu-jitsu was my cure. Jiu-jitsu was my medicine for the unhappiness of working on the financial system. And I made that decision. It was a gamble and everything else. I don't know if circumstances were different, but I just took that gamble. And I remember once I bought my first house. That was one of the biggest worries about my mom. And I bought this house, and I call her from the side of the road. And I remember, Mom, I just bought a house. And for her, it was like, I bought a house with jujitsu. I bought a house with the martial arts. And that was the biggest worry in her life. It was that we're never going to be achieving things that the family wants. But in the same way, it was the dream. It was the love, right, Marcelo? And that's super important.
Libor,
I just want
you just Libor, I love this story, and I never really heard from you. I heard
to.
so many like stories from you, but I never heard from you. Libor, I feel like we mean to be something. We mean, I think like the way how we are born. I think we mean to do something, and I don't think we mean to be what people tell us to be. I think like each person has your very private and particular love, and you have to choose the love and then live that way. But some people like they just choose like a different paths based on what people tell, and what your friend told you that like, look, you're successful. I think that was one of the greatest advice you can have. And unfortunately, boy, you see some people doing some jobs. Obviously, sometimes they don't have choice, but most of the time, if you have a choice, you have to go for it. And unfortunately, boy, sometimes you see people in a really like high rank of a professional, but they're not made for that. Sometimes they make living, they make good money, sometimes they get whatever they need, but sometimes they're not made for that. So that's why I feel so important. Some people is made for things, some people are made for those professions. I feel like especially like today, when you see people that like is on the front of this whole like coronavirus, like the doctor, the nurse, you know what I mean? I'm sure they're made for that. I'm sure there's people that can take care of that, you know what I mean? And I don't think you can get one of us and make over there and be a nurse. I think you need to be made for that. And I feel like you need to just follow your passion, try be what you like to be.
No, you have no doubt about that, Marcelino. It's a calling, right? It is a call. In a certain way, you have to pursue that dream sometimes against, people that you love it, telling you in your ear that man, you're not going to be successful. You're not going to do this. Parents have a very good path. They show you a path that they think it will fit for them for the most part, and it may not necessarily fit for you. It's not saying that you're not listening to your parents. Of course, you got to listen to your parents, but you got to have to listen to their inner voice. One thing I know, Marcel, and you and me, and a lot of people that are listening to right now is this. When you get old, and that's I'm in the stage right now, and your time to retire, you better have a passion. You better have something that is not just related to money or just to a habit. you better have something that you makes you happy. And then is and this point right there is life. You know, I'm telling you what happened is my father was it was a superintendent and he works in a bank, and he definitely loved to work at the bank. He loved the environment. He loved, he loved the business itself. He loved everything which was about that. But in the moment that he retired, 5 years later, he was dead. And I know that was a lot to do with the lack of something else, with the passion. But we do love martial arts. We do live jiu-jitsu. This is part of us. And it's going to be heavier and heavier in our lives, even more when you get older, because you're going to be able to pass the torch, see people getting help from the sport, enjoying the community as a whole. Community as a lifestyle, from the food and the music and the style and on everything, absolutely everything. This culture it'll be part of that. But the happiness, it is in getting up every day and you know that you mean something. And that passion, man, it's much more than money. It's much more than money. I personally know that for a fact. Especially right now that as much as you study, as much as you can, as much as you have your business, at this coronavirus craziness, and one point right now, there's about a lot of solid people that got wiped out with their businesses, and suddenly a rich guy sees himself without having that income, and everything that he constructed, that he built for it, maybe with not that much passion or have something else like passion, it was just wiped out. I'm saying we are very fortunate, and I believe in a lot of people that are listening to watching this right now that understand that the passion for the sport, the passion of the martial arts contributes to happiness. There's a happiness scales, and not just your hobby, your jiu-jitsu, in our case, jiu-jitsu or your martial arts has to be used as a way, as a therapy, or
Liborio, you say that, and make me think about like even when you have to reset, even when you have to start all over, it's so much easy when you have the passion, because
yes,
you're gonna do all over again something that you did with passion, something that you enjoy doing. So it's almost like if you fail, if it goes wrong, what I feel like you cannot really say wrong, because sometimes it goes wrong, but sometimes it's just to kind of make things better. So I feel like it can go wrong, because something that it's so much easier for you to start all over again if it's something that you enjoy.
oh man, this is yeah, Marcelino, I knew it that when we started talking, and I really apologize for people that wanted to see Marcelo competing, but I know that I wanted people to know Marcelo as I know Marcelo. That's it. And a lot of people know of your accomplishments and your ability to break down a position, which is Marcelo Garcia. You have actually, you way decades ago, you started with Marcelo Garcia in action. And the Marcelo Garcia in action right now is one of the hottest commodities out there, because it's all online, it's all virtual. You jump ahead of this thing before even imagining that this was going to be popular as it is today. But I wanted people to know you, and and listen to you, and how wise you are in your decisions and actions. But let's give it a glimpse of what a Marcelo Garcia is. Kyle, let's go there for the highlights now. There you go. They put you there at Sao Paulo. Oh, this is the arm drag. Hold on for a second. Marcelo, can you stop there, Kyle, for a second, please? A little. Marcelinho, how did you develop this? The single leg X. How did that came to it? If it was you saw somebody doing it. How did that happen?
Liborio, I believe like a lot of the techniques come from mistakes. I don't think I don't feel like I ever invent anything, but at the same time I see all the people doing one thing, and I start doing another thing, and then I start to fail with doing another thing, and then I start to adapt to do one other thing, and then you start to put something together. So I never feel like we develop something, but I feel like we just like doing more than the other people, and was all based on my mistakes, the body, like and try adapt. And we come from the gi, right? And then from the gi to the no gi, we have to adapt something.
Yep.
And I always try and just make like um, a close technique that we have with the gi to the no gi. For example, the arm drag, Liborio. People maybe doesn't know, but I used to have like one of my favorite sweep where I was crossing the arm with the sleeves. And when I started training no gi, when I was already brown belt, Liborio, the only way that I felt to cross the arm like that with the arm drag was with the arm drag. But I didn't really know the arm drag that well. And one time, the coach of my coach, he showed the arm drag, and I felt like I feel like I can do this on the ground. So from the
Oh, this
ground,
is
I
what I was
started.
going to ask you. So the arm drag, because wrestlers are adapting the arm drag a lot from the stand up part. So you adapted directly from that to the ground, right?
The ground, yeah.
You're just gonna stop there for a second, Kyle. Well, even can go back. Kyle, can you go back a little bit to before the backpack there? Can you go back a little bit to the arm drag? And I just want to break down this because this is your go-to move. You know, you got from the arm drag, and it started with the grips, right? It is not really just simple. It is not just really holding the wrist. People are not going to give you right away there. So there is any tricks about the hand fighting from the position?
Liborio. So imagine like if you go straight against somebody bigger than you, you're probably gonna deal with a lot of pressure, right? A lot of weight, a lot of momentum, a lot of like strain. So I feel every time you go to them drag, you not only go to attack, but at the same time you get out of the people's way. Every time they drive against you and you arm drag, all the energy go away from you, all the energy go past you. So I feel like if I go to arm drag, I take someone that has a lot of energy to attack me, to avoid, and at the same time I can use his energy to climb the back.
It's a matter of angles and levels right there, right? You say that you just if they go straight forward and you just step an angle to the side, you let them pass and you cut the corner.
The body. Do you know that time that I jump with my feet behind like a Rico's back like this?
Yep.
I don't know why people doesn't do that more, because it's a move that I wouldn't say easy because it's not the
Like this
easiest
one.
move.
This one you're doing right now.
Yeah, but
Yep.
not every move is easily about jiu-jitsu, right? Especially the best one, we need to practice, we need to drill, we need to put ourselves out there. And I don't know why people doesn't do that more often, because it's the type of move that even the biggest guy, that I probably believe I have competing, if you jump with your feet behind the legs, behind the knees, on the fold of the leg, it's hard. It's hard to someone stay there, Liborio. So I don't know why people doesn't do that more often.
No, Marcelino, this is really. I believe that everybody can't do this thing. They just did it in a special way. I was there for this match against Rico. I was there at the pyramid, and I saw this. That's the moment that he actually uh, jumped back. Right. That's just keep moving there, Kyle. Let me see it, Marcelo. About the backpack. Before that, before you go from there, let me ask something, Marcelino. About the backpack. People comes from the backpack from here right now, and there's a lot of people that actually, uh, well, something wrong there. And the backpack, there's a lot of people that actually talk about the chest has to be right on the back and between the legs. Do you agree with this? That this is a folklore? That what do you think of that?
But I think you have to be higher, right? But higher so you don't fall. But at the same time, if you go above the shoulder, I feel like you can easily get shake out of that. And when I say shake out, like you can get thrown over the head, right? And if you want to control the back, I feel like you have to really like stay on the same level.
Mhm.
on the same line, and based on just kind of stay together. You cannot just be like off below or maybe off to the side. I really believe like if you have your chest line up with the opponent's like shoulders line up, not above, not below, I feel like you have much better control. And control means like he's
Right now.
not controlling you. You just stay with you. You just with him.
Marcelinho, let's continue there, Kyle. Let's continue there. I know that from this moment right now, when you got the backpack, not exactly this moment, but when you got the backpack from there, the next step for you, what it would be? It was the hand fighting to try to get this under, or are you kind of because everybody's going to be holding the hands to avoid the hand to actually come in, right? If the guy's defending on the back and your hand goes under the jaw, you're going to be pulling up to create space and raise the shoulders in. What do you, as a backpack guy on the back, should be doing with your hands right after that, especially if it's on the floor?
Liborio, one thing that I wish to always have is like even we know it's good to take the back and put the hooks, and in the jiu-jitsu tournament we're gonna make points on that.
Yeah.
I feel like the seat belt for me is more important than the hooks. So I feel like as long as I stay there long enough, the person will make a mistake. And the mistake can come from a lot of reasons. Sometimes the person get tired to keep the chin down. And once he gets tired to get his chin down, he can easily get your hand under his neck. Sometimes the person goes and like, okay, I'm going to take the hooks out. And when they try to take the hooks out, they forget about the neck, right? Sometimes the person like, okay, I'm going to try break the grip from the seatbelt. Sometimes they want to just break the grip that you control the back. And sometimes when they try break this too much, you can end up controlling their hands. So every move counts, right, buddy? If you make like the wrong move, you in a big trouble. So most of the time when you have someone's back like that, I feel if you just stay there long enough, I believe the mistake will come from your opponent.
Marcelinho, let me ask you something right now. A technical position, right? The guy's defending from the back, chin down, shoulders up. It's hard to get in. How you put your hand under, or you actually, through the neck. Let's say the guy's really, really locked in. You have a great seat belt. He's defending with the hands right there. Well, if you want to attack with the hand under here, what hand would you use it? I have seen people using actually both hands, but what do you prefer?
Liborio, I believe like
Kyle, let's go. Let's run the position there, and from there we keep discussing this here right now. Well, that's the takedown there.
I think I have like a weak hand. I don't know if it's all right to say this, but my hand is not big, it's not strong. So sometimes if I use my finger, it's not going to be strong. So I like to close my hand a little bit, use a little bit my knuckles. And with my knuckles, I feel like you can find a way to get under the person's chin. Not necessarily you have to go across the body. I feel like if you get your hand in instead of across, it's easier. I'm not saying that's the right or wrong way to do it. I just feel like that's easier for me if I can get my hand like in instead of across. After I get my hand in, I feel like you can start work to get across. But instead of use my fingers, I like to use the knuckles, but it's more like the knuckles of my thumb. What I feel is like it's thinner. Is the thinner part. Is a narrow like a part of my hand. And at the same time, it's strong. It's stronger than my fingers, and it's almost as strong as my whole hand. So I put a lot of like trust on that.
Back. Can you hear me, Marcelinho?
Now I can hear.
Yeah, it was kind of freezing up.
Yes.
Yeah, Marcelinho. Another thing too is when the hand go all the way through it. Do you like to put in the back of the shoulder? You don't mind if somebody grabs his ear. Do you hide the hand that's under the arm, under the neck?
The butt. Just like a climber. I'm not a climber. I'm terrible in climbing. I have no technique. But I feel like I can use the tip of my fingers really well on that. I feel like once
Uh,
my hand goes across, I can find the scapular. I can really kind of dig my finger on the hole, what gives me like an edge to climb. Just like an edge to climb, I use that to just maintain and hold the toe.
because that's the time that they're going to be using the hand. They're going to be using their hands to try to pull the arm back, right, to create space so the chin goes down. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Keep going there, Kyle. Let's see how it goes from there. We for sure we're going to see this position a lot. That's another position they love at omoplata.
But it's so important to look for moves that we can do with the gi and no gi.
Yeah. Did you, Marcelino? Did you train a lot of gi for the ADCCs, or you actually took the gis out and you
Uh,
just trained with no gi for
was
the
a different
ADCC?
phase, different phases, right, buddy? But it's funny, like my first ADCC, I was calling the last minute, so I couldn't really prepare no gi. But at the same time, like 6 months before, I was training a lot of no gi, so I felt I was kind of sharp in the no gi. But at the same time, I was only training once a week at Friday because in São Paulo, in Brazil, people that maybe doesn't know, gi was always more popular. And there was only one time that was so hot in São Paulo that Fabio decided to like, okay, this summer is so hot, let's do most no gi. And I took advantage of that time, even I didn't want to. So that time I trained most no gi. But right before the Abu Dhabi that I was calling the last minute, I was training only once a week. And today, only after I open my gym, I feel like I can choose to be like half of the time no gi and half of the time with the gi. And surprisingly, Liborio, I didn't mean to, but the last time
Really?
I compete, the last Mundial, the last train that I did, the last rolling that I did before the Mundial was in no gi. And before Abu Dhabi, the same year, the last train that I did before the Abu Dhabi was with the gi.
With the gi.
So it doesn't really matter that much as long you have everything organized.
Marcelino, I want to hear your take on. I really want to hear your take on conditioning. Do you do conditioning? Do you do the you have a preparation from it?
But I have many instructors. I consider you one of them. And many of my instructors always told me like you gotta do condition, you gotta do condition. And I try so many times. But Libor, I never have the passion to do it. And it was always so hard for me. And I did so many times because my coaches, you have told me to do that for MMA. I did
I
so many
remember.
times,
I remember that.
but I never felt like I'm enjoy any moment over that. So so there was one time in jiu-jitsu that I felt like I'm just done. Now in jiu-jitsu, no matter whatever people say, I'm not gonna do condition at all. And I feel like I did it very little about it, but at the same time, I never felt any like a help from the condition. But then obviously, like when I went to MMA and there was a new thing, obviously MMA, and then I start to like believe, okay, it's new. I don't know what I'm doing. It's MMA. I'm learning. So I start doing condition again, right? But then right after that, after I stop, after I quit MMA, I'm definitely like, okay, I don't want to do condition anymore. And I feel, Liborio, if you have passion, if you have time,
Yeah.
if you put your heart, you can build your condition only in jiu-jitsu. I feel that way. And I'm talking about the condition like you can really get yourself tired doing jiu-jitsu. You can really get your grip like super exhaust and burn and hold the position longer. I feel you can do that. But just to be clear, one thing I wish I have done different is like not doing the condition train, but I wish I have done little bit of condition train as a physiotherapy, like my entire life. I wish I have
Okay.
done little bit of like a condition train as like a just like a healing, never like a bodybuilder weight, because many times many times, like the coach that I used to have on the gyms on the lift weight, they want to make me doing just weight like if I was bodybuilding. So it was like not fun at all. But I feel like I wish I have done some like a physiotherapy, some conditioning to heal my body, not to make me strong, not to make me more like a faster, but just to heal, because that's something that I'm sure I'm paid the price today.
Marcelino, let me ask you something. Do you, you're pretty well known by your guillotine and your style of a guillotine. Can you tell us a little bit about the guillotine, when you really actually started doing the guillotine in your game? Was more no gi, right? Or
Only no gi. Even today, I trust guillotine only in no gi. But Liborio, I feel it's no gi don't have that much grip, and all the grip you have is almost like the grip that you made on you. I feel like the grip that you made, like a seatbelt grip, gable grip, a guillotine grip, like a north south choke grip. So I feel like I was missing more grip, and without have the collar, without have the lapel, without have like the sleeves, I felt like I was missing something. And then I never have a really good guillotine before no gi, before brown belt with the gi at all. But then I felt no gi like I was missing control, and I feel like I went to guillotine more to control that match, more to pass the guard, more to establish like a half guard position, for example. Like the person doing a half guard, I go to the head, I'm just get a hold of him. But at the same time, I felt like, yeah, but I feel if I squeeze over here, it's gonna work. So the guillotine comes more like in a resource of controlling the match. But then, obviously, like after you get more comfortable and confident in no gear, I start jumping through a guillotine. I start to like diving for a guillotine, like a really, really commit. And I think that has a lot to do like to learn something. When you want to learn something, you really have to commit and trust and give all you have.
Marcelino, let me ask you this. There's somebody was asking here. Chris just asked about if you recommend a blueprint program for a specific condition for BJJ. You know, you just answered that question here right now. You know, there is something about cutting weight here. So, Marcelino, have you ever had to cut weight to competition?
Liborio, I like to say I'm dieting my entire life. I used to say I'm cutting weight. And then people told me, like, no, you're not cut weight, Marcel. You don't understand. You don't know what is cut weight. Cut weight is when you cut water and then you put the weight back. So I didn't know that. Obviously, I learned like not a couple years ago, but then I realized like, yeah, so I'm dieting. Obviously, I don't did a dieting that took that long, but most of my cutting weight was what I used to call was like a 6 weeks. I used to take like a 5 or 6 weeks to lose the weight. And then obviously like I used to put that weight back, but not in the next day, but in the next like a month or two, the weight always come back because that was more than natural. But obviously like my most comfortable way to compete was the weight that I choose, what was 170 pounds. But at the same time, like we need to have the sacrifice, but I think I can be wrong. I think, but a lot of people choose to cut the weight because it's easier. We know it's painful. We know it's hard to be in a sauna. You know it's hard to be in a bathtub. We know how struggling people. But I feel it's a little bit more like the last minute thing. I can be wrong. I'm just giving my personal opinion. I'm giving the personal opinion of someone, but I have my weight, the same weight since I was like 14 years old. The same weight.
So, I wish I could say that.
Totally, body. I'm cutting weight. I'm dieting since I was on that age, and obviously it wasn't that much. But then when I become adult, I used to have to cut more because the division went lower a little bit. Like for example, my division as a juvenile, as like a teenage, was higher than my middleweight division in the adult. So after I turn into adult, I have to choose, or I go much higher or I go little lower. and then I realized, okay, I'm gonna go lower because it make more sense. But since there, I've been dieting, and unfortunately, like it's not fun, Liborio. That's like one part of jiu-jitsu that you don't want to go to compete out of shape, but at the same time, you cannot be in shape and on the weight of the competition like a 24/7. So I was always gain weight, and then when I go compete, I was always lose the weight. But at the same time, I was not cutting weight; I was dieting, and was most like a 6 weeks and at least 2 weeks, depending how next was the next tournament. So if I make the weight this weekend, if I go compete next weekend, obviously I don't have to lose almost anything because I dieting. I'm going to be very close to the weight. But if it's like a 3 months apart, probably I'll put all the weight back, and then I have to take more 5 or 6 weeks to lose all the weight.
Marcelinho, listen, we're finishing here right now. There's only 2 minutes for us to get out of here. Let me just tell you something. Well, I know you much more than the majority of your bigger fans. Let's put it this way. I am one of them. I always was one of them. But beyond anything else, I'm a fan of this human being that I really wish that everybody was listening to right now, will follow the mentorship of your actions and what you have to say. There are so many great things in your mind and your spirit and your and your words to inspire people, especially at this moment right now. We live a lot of things. We live a lot of good things. We live together a lot of bad things. I've been there. We've both been there together for the best and the worst. Mm-hmm. But I really, really, truly want you to saying the goodbyes. I just really want you to send a message to everybody that thinks that it is so bad that they can even handle right now. And I know you have a lot to say.
Liborio, I love you. You always inspire me. You didn't know, but obviously, like since I was teenage, and obviously you're already like a world champion. I was always look up for you. I was always like admire you. I couldn't admire you more back then because I didn't have more information. I wish to know you back then, but I know what people put in the news in the magazine back then, but the time that we have together, I'm sure I just want you to know for sure that I appreciate it every minute, like every word that you say. But the boy, this time is hard and it's been hard to everybody. But since we know jiu-jitsu, since we used to that, we have to believe that we're gonna go through this. And I feel like we all go through like a tough time. People go through different tough times than the other, but many times they're alone. A lot of people go through a disease worse than these ones. Someone that doesn't give them any chance. Obviously, they have their family together with them, but at the same time, it's only them. They're the ones that are gonna have to fight the most. And I feel like now is one of those times that we all going through like a tough time. But it's differently, but because we all going together, everybody's being affected from this thing. So I feel like there's a way to get out, I feel like it's together. If we're by ourselves, sometimes it's hard. But at the same time, we have to believe that things are gonna get better because it's very easy to believe on the worst scenario. But obviously, like we have an option. We can definitely choose to believe on the best scenario. And I'm looking forward for that, Liborio.
Yeah. Marcelinho, thank you so much, so very much. Everybody I know that is very, very appreciative that you jumping in. I know that everybody wants to have this live, this time with you there, but it is for a good cause. You know that Black Belt Magazine right now is really actually giving a chance to Jiu-Jitsu to showcase the true martial arts in us and how that this is really actually helping people. So we're thankful so much that what you have done and take time with your beautiful, wonderful family. And what are we going to say? Thank you. We truly, truly, truly appreciate it.
Okay? Thank you, Black Belt Magazine. Thank you, everybody that is like on the front right now fighting this virus. Thank you guys very much.